And that's why I think war between the United States and Iran is very likely in the next 2 to 4 years. We also discussed that, okay, even though there are these forces that want war with Iran, ultimately it is the U.S. military that must implement this war. And if the U.S. military refuses to go to war, then the war can't happen. So we discussed that, unfortunately, the U.S. military is very different from what it was 30 years ago. Okay? 30 years ago, the U.S. military maintained very standard military doctrine. Okay? They maintained 3 very important principles that all militaries must maintain in a time of war. The first is mass forces. B is avoid encirclement, right? And the third is protect supply lines. Now, the important idea is that when you fight a war like this, okay, which is traditional warfare, you must have the consent of the public, okay? Because it is the public that sends soldiers, that provides money, that gives you political support. But in 2003, the U.S. military changed its military doctrine to one of shock and awe. Okay? And what shock and awe means is that you don't have to follow these 3 principles anymore. You can use air supremacy. You also have technological omniscience. And you also have special forces. And this allows you to fight wars cheaply, quickly, and decisively so that you no longer need public political support for fighting wars. And as we also discussed, this created the idea of hubris in the American military. So the American military, because of the 2003 war in Iraq, are confident they can win any war, any place, against any enemy. We know that this doctrine is actually not true. And we know because of something called Operation Prosperity Guardian. Okay? So a few months ago, the Houthis, which are a rebel group in Yemen, they started to attack ships in the Red Sea. Okay? And a lot of trade goes through the Red Sea. So the American military dispatched a massive naval force against the Houthis. Were the Americans able to defeat the Houthis? No, they were not. And so what are the Americans going to do about it? What can they do about the Houthis? What's the solution to this problem? You have these pirates, the Houthis, going around and attacking these ships, which is affecting international commerce. And that's why inflation is such a huge problem right now in the world. So what's the American military going to do about this? What can they do about this? The answer is nothing. Okay? The American military has no solution. Why? Because they don't have the forces necessary in order to undertake an operation against the Houthis. They have special forces, they have air supremacy, and they have technological omniscience, satellites, but they don't have infantry. They don't have lots and lots of ships. Therefore, they cannot stop the Houthis. Okay? And what's really important is that Joe Biden has come out and said that, yes, we know we are losing the war in the Red Sea, and yes, we know that we cannot stop the Houthis, but we are going to continue on this path. Okay? Does that make sense? This idea of hubris, not knowing your limitations. And when you are faced with your limitations, you refuse to accept your limitations. Okay? And that's why when the U.S. military is given the order to invade Iran, they'll probably go along with it because they cannot imagine the possibility that they could be defeated in Iran. And then you have the Iran Revolutionary Corps, okay? The Revolutionary Guard. And as we discussed last class, they want war with the United States because they're very angry about U.S. interference in Iran, right? So during the Shah regime, which was a brutal police state from 1953 and 1979, the Americans were the ones who were backing this police state. So there are many who are angry about this. They're also angry about the fact that the U.S. continues to protect Israel and Saudi Arabia. Okay? And they're also angry about the fact that Trump killed General Soleimani. Okay? And as we discussed, it's possible that the Revolutionary Guard Corps killed last week the president of Iran, Ibrahim Raisi, because he was preventing war. So they want war with the United States. So you see the map, right? You see the logic of this, where there are powerful forces in the United States pushing the United States towards war. You have Trump, who has basically agreed in his first term to raise or increase escalation with Iran. Within the Trump White House, there'll be Jared Kushner and Nikki Haley to push this war, both privately and publicly. The U.S. military has so much hubris that they think they can win this war, and Iran wants to provoke the United States into invading it. Okay? And Iran can have many, so Iran has many strategies in order to provoke the United States into war. Okay? Basically, the United States is looking for a reason, and Iran wants to give them a reason. And that's why I think war between the United States and Iran is very likely in the next 2 to 4 years.